Hey folks, this is Joe and welcome back to a new video with Victoria 2, and today we'll be playing the tutorial. And as you can already see, there's something different, right? Something that's not how it usually is, because on my YouTube channel I never put my webcam, simply never. But in this specific occasion for this tutorial, I'm doing it in live stream at the same time, so it's possible I have some chat interactions, but you know, it'll be all dandy and good. So I tried to like 3 or 4 times already to make this video to start a tutorial, and things changed a bit and I had some technical issues with the video having to be deleted. Well, not deleted, but it's just my computer crashing and becoming unusable piece of garbage content. So I'm just starting back from clean. I plan on initially going to single player, playing the game, finding something, but I discovered in the meantime that there's an actual tutorial to the game, so we'll be able to go see that tutorial and see what's happening here. And the first one will be an introduction to Victoria 2, so let's jump right in and see if it crashes again. And if it crashes again, I think I'm giving up. I'm literally just giving up if it crashes again. Alright, so this is an introduction to Victoria 2, a grand strategy game mainly set in the 19th century. This is the era where the modern world was born, old empires died and new one rose to powers. New technology revolutionized the way people and nations lived. New ideologies ripped nation apart or forged them stronger than ever before, and all this was powered by the massive industrial revolution. So where do you come into all of this? Click next to find out. In Victoria 2, you will take the command of a country that you will guide you through these turbulent times. In this tutorial, we have chosen Belgium, a good nation to start with due to its rather limited size but significant potential. Significant since it had already started industrializing when we come into the game. Alright, so we see the country in the top left, guiding your nation. So this is okay, I see what kind of tutorial we're getting through. So it just talks to you about every single point. So you have the production, that here you'll find things about your industry right here. Production of good, the engine of your industrializing economy, and the budget. Money makes the world go round, so that's where you will control taxes and expense. The technology, where you'll control the direction your country takes depending on which technology field you'll go down into. The politics, that will allow you to view the political management of your nation, that will allow you to elect parties depending on your actual stance. If you're a democracy or if you're a monarchy, you can change a party to obtain different stance that will allow you to do different things. We'll definitely explore that later. The population, which is an interesting thing, I can't even click. It just tells you it's the people of your country, a major concern in Victoria 2. Many of your decisions will be made with your populations in mind, and most will have consequences for your population, maybe today or maybe in several years. In the trade, we can see what we import and export. In the diplomacy, it's where we make alliance and declare war on other nations. And the military will be the art of war, where we control the nation's army and navy. Alright, next, this is the world map. The action takes place on the world map, and you can move, so we can move around. Are you lost? You can navigate easier right here. So by clicking that, we can type Belgium, and click right there and be brought to the capital. How wonderful is that? We have different map modes, so we have a passage of time that we can unlock, and things going on. We have a pop-up down here that will show us okay, we finished the first tutorial, so we can now move into basic of armies and navies. So really had a basic overview of the UI in the first. So it asks you to select a unit. All right, so it describes the leader that you have, the supply. Let's see, what do they mean? Supply status of your army. Each army needs certain items. If function properly, these tools will be automatically collected from the stockpile. If I provide these items, this will negatively influence reinforcement rate and the rate at which organization is regained. Okay, so that's basically organization and morale. More like morale, right? No, we actually have morale too. It's all right. Right here, strength on organization. The green left bar is organizations to represent the combat readiness of your unit. The higher the value, the more effective your unit will fight. Organization is lost in combat but will be regained automatically. The red right bar represents strength. When the bar is full, your unit is at maximum strength. If not, it has taken loss and we have not been replaced. And we have the number of men and brigades. That will be each brigade will actually be 3,000 units, so we'll be able to use them in fighting. So each brigade will be one unit on the checkerboard. I guess we'll go into combat right now. We can split unit with that and we can move units into a different army, and now we have 2 armies. All right, and we can merge them back together. Great, so they show us how to split and merge. You can also press S to split in 2 and J to group them up together. Is it? No, it's G, J, G, G, yeah, S and G, not J. I'm speaking too much French now. All right, so they're asking us to move to the Vile Dutch. All right, so I guess we will literally crush them in combat. All right, so time went by very fast, right? All right, your units are now in action against the Dutch. Notice the progress bar that appear under your units, which indicate that who is winning. All right, so right here, ore bar is full, I think, right? Because they have absolutely no organization, and once they reach 0 organization, they get crushed. So let's go and let the combat finish. Let's see if we can destroy their army, and we did. So the battle is over. We get the end screen combat result. And they're asking us to click on the outlier. Right now we want the 3e division. Click this unit in the outliers. They want me to come here and click that unit, but I just want to speak about the combat screen. So this basically show the units. So we had 9,000 infantry, 3,000 cannons for a total of 12,000. They had 9,000 infantry, and they were obliterated out. Right? No, they're all surviving. So I guess they just ran away. Okay. With this unit, with the 3rd division, we can actually load it into a ship by clicking the load into a ship button right here. So we can click that, get into a transport ship, and then we can select the ship, and we must move our ship to Dogger. Click the port and barrage, and after selecting the fleet, right click on the coast of Holland. Yeah, no, I have the oh, okay, I have the actual army. All right, let's see. So we're now transporting unit by sea. So let's go to Middelburg. Where's Middelburg? That's Rotterdam. That's Middelburg here. So I don't even know why they made us take the ship at that point. Wasn't, oh my god, how many units they have. All right, so I'll need to move them right here to Middelburg. And now we have a rebellion at the same time. That's great, huh? You're playing the tutorial and you have a rebellion popping up. All right, so this is the end of the basic military tutorial. Choose how to proceed. Let's go with basic production. Welcome to the tutorial covering the industrial aspect. All right, so they ask us to go into the production screen. Now they tell us about all the different raw materials that are available in the production tab. And we have different units that produce them. Now they're talking about the RGOs, so you have farmers and miners that will acquire the bounties of nature, and then you have the artisans that will be the blacksmiths and weavers that will buy raw material and then make better goods, consumer goods and industrial goods, and maybe even military goods, and then sell them back off to the people. And you have factories that are exactly the same thing as artisans, but doing it on a massive scale. And that was the end of basic production tutorial. All right, let's go into basic budget. All right, so we get into the budget screen. It's talking us about taxes for the poor, the middle, and the rich. These are the three classes that, well, it's going a bit too fast. Now we got the different expenses. I cannot move. All right, so you had three different type of, let me just, okay, right here. So you have three different taxation levels. You have the poor that will comprise of your craftsmen, your farmers, your laborers. If you have slavery allowed, your slaves, as well as your basic soldiers. And you have the middle class that will be your artisans, your bureaucrats, your clergymen, your clerks, and your officers that will have different level of taxation. So if you put the taxation lower, these people have easier time acquire the goods they need to get into better standard of living. For example, right here, the middle class, 45% are not getting their needs. So there's many people that don't even get the basic needs in the country because maybe taxation at 50% is stopping them from being able to afford whatever goods they need, or maybe we just don't have access to the goods they're requesting. Otherwise, if you go into the green or the blue, they're more happy and less likely to rebel against your might. And in the daily expense, we have different level. We have the army expense in the first one, so we can decrease the amount we're spending on the land armies. That will directly affect the organization, and we can also decrease the amount that we are spending on the navy, so that will decrease organization of the ships. And we also have construction, which is whenever we decide to build factories or railroad in your country, and we are paying for these goods, and this will be controlled by air. And right at the top right, we have the industrial subsidies. Industrial subsidies will be whatever factories we have in country that we decide to actively pay if they're not in the green. So let's say they're losing money doing the production, then we will cover the difference in expense to keep them active rather than shutting down and going bankrupt. We have education, which will control the population literacy as well as research rate. So we can go from 0% education, and if we do that, then the clergy class of people that are responsible for most of the research and education will be decreasing. And if the total percent of clergymen in our population decreases, then all the other gains will also decrease. So it's always good to keep education maxed out to maximize the amount of money we can get back into our economy later with more specialized unit. Administration is all about the bureaucrats. So higher administration, your country works better, but lower administration, there's more chances to have corruptions and losses of money throughout everything. So early on, we can pump it up, and when we get 100% administration efficiency, and we can lower it back down and live with whatever choice we have. We also have social spending. At the start of the game, most nations, I think if not all nations, have no social spendings, so you don't have to worry about that. In the military spending, the more you pay, the more likely people will want to be soldiers and much more likely to be officers, but the less you pay, then less people want to be in your forces. But if you keep it middle, then you have something more balanced, And tariffs allow you to put tariffs on import and export for everything that's not within the same sphere of influence with you, which might be complex to understand at the start. But if you're playing a relatively strong nation, you can raise it up and not be worried too much. And even if you put it at 100%, just sounds crazy, but our efficiency is only at 36%. So that means we only get 36% of that tariff. All right, and we can take loans, which you should not even bother about. You can only take up to 1,500 in loans, and it's just you cannot buy anything with that. All right, so let's close that budget. Okay, we need to take a loan. All right. Let me take a loan. Gave me that, and now we can pay back the loans already. So let's do just that. Now we can go into basic technology training. To move forward, we'll need to open up the technology tree, and we'll need to go into the industry technology. So basically, in your industrial screen, you have the army tax. So all of these tax will have an impact onto your land and military. So if you go into army doctrines, each one of them will give you fort max level +1, which means you can build higher leveled forts. Light armament will give massive combat increase to your infantry as well as cavalry units. Heavy armament will give you an increase with your cannon supports and firepower. Military science would give you better organization, which is just like moral in Europe. Universalist force, so higher organization is easier to fight with your unit. They're just stronger. And you have some crazy subtech like in military directionism. You have gas attack capability that allow you to use gas attack, which is just an incredible buff. If you get that early on, you can have I think it's +3 on your roll in attack. That we'll see when we'll play more with the military side. It's just so good, it's crazy. So let's go into the industry, and they ask us to start researching railroads. So let's just indulge and do what they're asking us. So research is being started, and that's pretty much it. Now we can go into basic politics. All right, let's go into politics. In this screen, we can see the current ruling party of the nation and the political yearning. So indeed, we have here a HMS government, which means his or her majesty's government. That means there's an actual king or queen that's ruling the country, but there is a parliamentary system for the people to express their grievance and requests. So you're not a fully on authoritarian leaders. You have to make some compromise with your population, and most especially your rich strata of population. So that's something you have to keep in mind when you're playing with the politicals. Now right here we have some elections. The next one are due in 1840, but every time the voters ideology will create a sort of association and give you a specific party depending on some weird calculation. So right now they're asking us to go and change the party. Right now it gives us more detail about what the parties can do. So gives you a good idea. And let's see. You have to balance the type of government with the one population one. Press next when you're ready. All right, and we will be allowed to do some reforms. So the political reforms are things that affect the political system in your country, while social reforms will divert government money to help various groups in your population. You should consider instituting a reform that your population wants, but also take care so that you can afford them. There's also a upper house to consider, which might take issues with new reforms being enacted. Below are a couple of examples of reforms Belgium currently has. All right, so let's see, like the social reforms we have. These will affect directly your population, how they're living, the growth of your country, depending on which one. So for example, if you have minimum wage increasing, then you have an attraction for immigrants, so people will be more likely to want to go to your nation. But as you can see, minimum wage plus 80%, that means your factories will have to pay more your workers for their labor. We also have max work hours. So if you reduce to, for example, 8 hours work day, so every day it's 8 hours of work per pop, then the throughput of your factory will be affected by 20%, but you'll have much more attraction for immigrants because they won't have to work as much. If they only need to work 8 hours a day, then it's easier to live your life, so they don't have as many needs that you will need to fulfill. So it's a balancing act. Yes, you'll produce less, but you will need less for your pops at the same time. So you gotta try to keep that in mind. And making your population happy, I don't know why, but it's usually a good way to avoid revolutions. Rebels are very, very annoying, Victoria too. And the 19th century was the era of pretty much violent political protestations, political assassinations. It was like rampant all over the place. But at the same time, you still had some very, very authoritarian leaders ruling with an iron fist, and very, very angry population with weapons. So it's like a very volatile mix. So we also have some social reforms. Like here we have subsidies for the employed and pensions. These will increase your immigrant attraction level, but they will have an expense for your country. So that was in the budget. The social spending, if you increase it, you will give even more than the actual social reform dictates, and people would be more happy. But if you cut it off, then you piss off people. If you cut off pension and unemployment insurance, people will be kind of mad, especially if things don't go well during a war. They tend to love rising up against you while you're fighting a war. And you have the last two that are very, very important social reform. You have healthcare, which, yes, it's expensive, but I don't even know if I thought it had some sort of financial expense, but apparently it just gives you population growth and immigration attraction. That's like the perfect social reform you want to take. And a school system increase your immigrant attraction and education efficiency, which is just a no-brainer. You'll get these social reforms should be your priorities when you're working, unless, for example, you really have like 80% of the population that's really hung up about not having a pension. Then yeah, maybe you can go ahead and give them a little trinket pension on the side. But generally speaking, hey, you're from New Brunswick, my mortal enemy. How come, man? I love everybody. Look right there, Canadian unity, my man. How are you doing, Baron? Call me Trash Master. I was talking about the school system being worthwhile for an investment in Victoria to just doing the tutorials. So, good school system, very nice. And on the right, we have the political reforms. So you have different type of reform. For example, you have slavery, which is a very contingented issues during the 19th century. For example, if you pick the United States, you're stuck on allowed until you go through all the motions of the Civil War to determine which path you go down. But you have less contingent issues like the upper house, how it is appointed depending on the population, or the ruling party only deciding the upper house. That will be something people request, as well as attracting immigrants the more liberal you are on these issues. But it's not something critical unless you're targeting a specific set of upper house mix-up you want. As for the vote franchise, if you have no voting, then you have no worries, right? No voters, nobody to complain to you about how they voted for your rule. But eventually in the 19th century, you won't have much choice but start going down the voting franchise and going toward universal vote, where everybody's allowed to vote, because people get pissed off when they don't have the right. Yes, I played Hearts of Iron 4. I haven't played lately. Played 2016 when it came out. Is it? Yeah, until 2018. But after that, I didn't really play. I didn't really play much Paradox game in the last few years. I guess it's just with age, you have less time to play games. But yeah, I liked it. It was very good. But I think I still prefer Hearts of Iron 3 in the end. It's just, the combat and the supply system just felt better. But at the same time, I haven't played OI4 lately, so maybe it changed a lot. I cannot tell. Which one do you prefer? As for our voting franchise, we have that. We also have in the voting system, we have first past the post, the Jefferson method, the proportional represent. These will affect how the voting bloc of your country determines the leader. So the elections are very abstract, and unless you're stuck in a democracy, you can always change the party to whatever you want. So you should not have to worry too much about a voting system early on. For the public meeting, usually they're allowed. I think very few nations start with meeting not allowed, but it's almost impossible to roll it back, so it's not too much an issue. And for press rights, again, it's just like with trade union political parties. They're not too much of a worry if you're starting playing the game, so I don't even think it's worth going through all of that in a tutorial video. And you've never played Vic 2, you try to play Europa Universalis for one time, but it was too complicated. Well, I can understand because I started playing EU4 when it launched. It was like a bare game, somewhat. But yeah, if you start playing like in 2022, it's a real convoluted mess. And now let's see, we should be closing that. Right here, the tutorial points us to the voters as well as the people ideologies and their different core issues. So right there, it can help you steer you toward what kind of reforms you'd like to put forth. Right there, you can see the voters and the peoples are not aligning with their ideologies, and it's because of the voting franchise. So only the middle and the upper classes can vote, which means all the lower classes, so the basic workers, soldiers, craftsmen, will not be allowed to vote at all. So they're a massive portion of the population, and for example 50% of the whole population is conservative, but in the voters' right they only get 38%. Well, the actual voters are only 38% of the total vote that are leaning in the same. So while you have to worry about the voter ideologies, you also have to worry about the people, because if they do not have their vision represented in the rulership, then they get pissed and start revolutions and everything. And these are the important issues for your people right here. And if you look at the amount of voters, that might be the most insightful. Well, people percentage and voter percentage might be the most insightful to see what are core issues. So you have different stances, like pro-military, jingoism, are different war policies for party. Right here we have pro-military, anti-military, and jingoism, and these allow you to balance what your population want and need, to make them more happy or more angry, if you like having revolutions. It seems like you have more control of your country than the linear OI4 system, with lower option being just objectively better. Well, I think Hearts of Iron 4 is really more, and even Hearts of Iron 3 are more about the actual fighting of the war on the world map. They're more like war games than grand strategy games. Victoria 2, the main focus is controlling the politics, economy, and industry of your system. And even in Victoria 3, they're kind of removing the whole managing army on the map. In Vic 2, you still have managing army in the map, but it's not like Hearts of Iron system where you form lines, you just move stacks like in Europa Universalis. While in Vic 3 that's coming up, will all be abstract out. So I'll see how it works. It's a weird system, but yeah, definitely it's not the same. And I didn't really like the particle points in Hearts of Iron 4 for managing, because you have the IDs that you want to go get with the 75 days that you have to research them. I don't remember the exact name, I'm sorry, I haven't played in a while. Well, that steers you in very specific, because if you take Germany, then you'll have the option to go against the Rhine's enforcement of disarmament, and it does railroad the game in Hearts of Iron 4. I mean, you pretty much have to play out a war, while in Vic 2 it's more about managing economy, so you don't really have to go and play the game in a warlike fashion. And I think that's pretty much it for the political screen. Yes, it is. So the next one will be basic population tutorial. And if I can give you a tip, Baron, I don't think playing the tutorial in Vic 2, which is what we're doing now, is worth it. It's pretty atrocious. All right, so we'll be talking about the people today. Let's open up the population. Is that okay? Open up Brussels. Brussels. Okay, they'll guide us into using a national focus. What do you think of the DLCs of Vic 2? No, they are must to buy. You have to buy Hearts of Darkness and House Divided, because otherwise it's not a good experience playing basic game. They did back then incorporate the patch into the DLCs, so if you don't have the latest DLC, you're playing like a 2010 version of the game. So they add a lot of balance and redesign of mechanics with the DLCs. They're more substantial also DLCs than in like Europa Universalis or Crusader Kings. That they're pretty much mandatory. All right, so now right here in the population, we got 1 million people in our country, and we get 2 national focus. These allow us to take one of the nation province and steer the direction we want to go with the population. So you have different focus available. You can stimulate railroad growth, which will make your capitalists start investing in that province to build railroads. You can have a immigration attraction policy, which is not working as it will seem at first, because it says migrants are 20% more likely to choose this region, but it doesn't mean like a worldwide buff. It's just internal migration is 20% more likely to happen for that province, which is just atrociously bad to waste your national focus on that. And you can use the diplomacy. So for example, if you are playing a nation like Greece, some of your core land is under Ottoman rulership, so you can actually use your national focus to create tension in that region, which will trigger a international crisis where the great power will try to intervene either in your favor or against you. There's civil war in Brussels. Isn't the civil war flag? Oh no, that's rebels. So I have a ongoing rebellion. It's reactionary rebels. They have 15,000. So basically, I'm playing the tutorial, so it's kind of railroaded, so I don't have much control about the troops and anything. I can't even click the troops right now, but at some point during the tutorial, people were pissed off enough to start a rebellion. Yeah, so it's different because in Europe, in Hearts of Iron, when you have the civil war, well, any rebellion, they just take the territory and become like a new nation fighting against you. Even in Europa Universalis, it's similar, but here they just become unit that try to siege down, and if they siege down your capital for a full year, then they get to enforce their demand. And I wish I could go and see what are their demands, but usually reactionary rebels just ask you to roll back some social reforms, which is a kind of terrible thing to happen, because if you roll back reforms, more rebels show up, and now you got liberals rebel that want to enforce new reforms, which will trigger more reactionary rebels. So you just become like a hotbed of insurrection and revolution, which means you're just a normal country in the 19th century after all. And yes, in the national focus, we also have promotions. So if you pick one of these, and they're encouraging us to pick craftsmen, that will stimulate the population to promote or demote to that specific class with more likeliness. So if we pick encourage craftsmanship, then our population will be 20% more likely to become craftsmen if they promote or demote from either any other role. In fact, as for the production here, these are not very good national focus. They will just, like, if you encourage consumer goods, then the capitalists you have in your nation will be more likely to build factories for glass, wine, or liquor. And if you encourage armaments, then ammunition, small arms, artillery, canned food. But It's unless you're stuck in a liberal democracy, you probably will never have to use any of these national focus. They're just not very good. And the same thing for party loyalty. So you can actually use, for example, a national focus right here to increase support toward fascism or reactionary or conservative or socialist, which will affect your population and shift them toward a support of that faction. So right now they ask us to go with the craftsmen, so we did that. Now we have an encouragement for people to become craftsmen in this province, and now they want us to expand the population 3 right here. What is the goal of this game? Well, I think the main goal is to survive 100 years without getting wiped out, because depending on the nation you pick, like Belgium, you'll probably be safe. I don't think there's much chance you get engulfed in another country, but if you pick, I don't know if I can, I cannot click out. So that's pretty annoying when I'm doing the tutorial, the actual game tutorial. I'm kind of stuck in my vision. But if you're one smaller state in Germany, then yeah, you'll probably get an X real quick. So the goal then is just to survive as long as possible, but otherwise, just surviving to 1935 is pretty much the goal. And you also have like role ranking. Right now we're secondary power at 9th position, and the 8th first most powerful countries in the nation, in the world, I'm sorry, are great powers, which grants them special interaction with other nations, and they allow you also to colonize, because the entirety of Africa is uncolonized in the game. All right, let's see. Now we have access to pop view. This is the population view where we can see each of the regions. We have Leverin. I don't know if that's a proper pronunciation. So we have 647,000 people there, and we're promoting people toward craftsmanship. And we also have Belgian Wallonie with 400,000. So that's our entire country. It's 2 different provinces with smaller regions with different amount of population. So that's divided pretty much like any other Paradox game in the way it is put in, but you really have in-depth view of the population of each little not like cities. Well, it's kind of cities. Yeah, they're pretty much city names. All right, so now what are they asking us? In the top of the screen, filter. All right, so they want us to just filter craftsmen, right? Find a Flemish craftsman in the list to the left. Flemish. Set. It's just a all right. Okay, we got to it. All right. So here, if we come back here, if we select like the entire nation, and now up there I don't have the filter anymore, but I'm just filtering all craftsmen in my country. These are all the different craftsmen and their amount of people. So right here we have 5,000 craftsmen of Wallonian nationality. They're all Christian, they're all located in Brussels, and you have their militancy, their consciousness, their current goods being met. So no, I'm sorry, that's the political ideology. So right now we have 56% that are liberal in total, and if we compare right here these 500 Jewish in Brussels craftsmen, they're 99% conservative. But if we look at these Flemish, 3,290 Flemish Catholic in Brussels, and they're about 56% liberal. So that gives you a good idea of your population. They're very, very down and granular definition of your population. So you can spend a lot of time looking and trying to understand what's going on in your country. But the tutorial asks us to click that Flemish pop here, that Flemish craftsman. And here we can get a lot of details. So we have the total amount. We can see the population change. I think that's the last 30 days. So if we have internal migration, the amount of craftsmen that will leave or come into that specific region. We have external migration, so either leaves the country or comes into the country. And internal, I mean they're moving like Brussels to Antwerp, so that will be internal migration. But if they're coming from France, then that will be external migration. And you have colonial migration, so once you start getting some colonies, you can have pop going back and forth between your colonies. And you have some more detail about the promotions and demotions. For example, we have 1% that demoted, I believe, in farmers, I guess. Okay, so these are the likelihood of promotions here. So if they demote, they have like 5% of becoming farmers. If I think I read that right. I'm not convinced I do. And here we can see also their current militancy, their current consciousness, their current literacy rate, so 28% are literate, and their religion, so they're Catholic. And we have some cash amount they have, the income, expense, saving. And our early game, usually you can't really have a very accurate representation of that, because the game calculation take a couple of years to get going and be accurate. And we can see right here if they're unemployed or not. And down here we get those famous life needs, everyday needs, and luxury needs. For example, down in life needs we have some sheeps. I think it's probably wool. Is it cattle? Oh, I think it was I don't know, I think it's bug. I don't think that's in the version I'm playing anymore, because I don't remember that trade good. But yeah, we have different goods, and that's the amount the population need. Hey, ça va bien toi, Boubou? Ça va bien, ça va bien. Ah oui, content de te voir. Je suis en train de faire un petit tutorial pour mon YouTube channel. And yeah, down the everyday good, we have different goods like clothing, furniture, coal. And down the luxury, we have more expensive good. So they will go and use their money to purchase these goods, and that will allow them to be more happy or less happy, because if they don't fill their life needs, then they will grow militancy. But if they are able to fill every needs they have, then they will do the inverse. So that boss, I'm a boo-boo. Alright, we finished the basic tutorial. Let's go to basic trade. I think that will be atrocious in that version. Alright, so we're in the trade interface. They will ask us. Alright, so now, first thing, if you're playing the game, you don't really need to bother. Oh, Dying Light, c'est bon ça. You will not really have to bother about personally managing stockpiles. It was maybe more the case in initial game, but right now you can do it manually. But I'll just go through the motions, because you see here we can allow population to buy from the stockpile by clicking that button, but they removed that button because it broke the game. So all right, end of the basic trade tutorial. Let's go into basic diplomacy. So they ask us to go into diplomacy. They ask us to go into Europe, right? The British are a good target. All right, let's see, where is United Kingdom? Probably one of the last, right? In the United Kingdom. All right, and they ask us to go check the wars, and now we have details of ongoing wars in the world. Right now we only have Texas War of Independence, which is Mexico against Texas. We can get different information. Right now we're looking at the United Kingdom on the right, so you can get some details. Let's click on maybe Texas. All right, so Texas, for example, here we see they have 2 brigades, so that means 6,000 soldiers. Meanwhile, Mexico has 30 brigades, which means 90,000 soldiers. But I think their war is pretty fresh, because they're both at 0% war exhaustion, and basically war exhaustion is very, very bad in this game, because it will if you reach 100%, you will have people rising up against you non-stop all the time. So you want to keep that real low. You don't want that to roll up. And now the game asks us to form an alliance with the United Kingdom, but they will not accept. I still throw. The United should be our ally. I don't think they will be. Usually might need to wait a bit for the answer, but the foreign office was quick. Okay, so I'm allied with them now. Alright. Select the Netherlands list and click declare war. Okay, they're pretty mad, huh? Alright, let's declare war. Humiliate. So yeah, when we can get into war declaration out of the diplomacy, we can do declare war. Now we have a casus belli to humiliate them, so we'll take that, and we'll need 15 war score to demand a peace deal. And that's pretty much it for basic diplomacy. Alright, let's go into advanced diplomacy. I think I might just have messed up myself because I probably had to do all of the different setting. Alright, so now that we'll talk about, you know, going through the influence setup and everything, but I'm not, you know, I don't think I want to go through all of these motions. What can I leave? All right, let's find Luxembourg. Luxembourg, where are you? All right, so right here they give us more details. We can see they're a civilized nation, satellite of the Netherlands. They're an absolute monarchy with a radical liberal party. Wow. And they have a traditional academia. And we can see their different setup, their accepted population. So they have accepted North German and French. So, all right, pretty good information. Now find the United Kingdom and click them. The United Kingdom. They're a great power. Yeah, I don't. Let's get out of the tutorial. I thought it would have been different because I should have clicked each one of them and go through each, and then yeah, basically don't bother playing the tutorial. I don't think it's very good. Let me. All right, it should be good. Let me just get into the game and start playing Victoria 2. Which nation should we take? Oh. Alright, well, the game crashed. I guess trying to play the tutorial might have been the killing blow here. Let's get back in Vic 2. It's usually not that much of a crashy game, so I'm not sure what happened here. Let's go ahead and try to make a real tutorial. I think they had a good recommendation with Belgium, though, giving you Belgium to start off in the game. So let's get into the grand campaign. Let's plug into Belgium right now. All right, let's see. Perfect, beautiful Belgium. Looks like exactly how we left it. Are we at war with anybody? I don't think we are, right? How do I? No, we're not. We would have different flags right here where it says at peace if we were at war. So we don't have that issue. All right, let's start with adjusting budgets. That will usually be one of the first things to do. My recommendation is just tax the hell out of everybody, man. Don't even bother about balancing a budget. Just tax up everybody, and don't worry, we're not actually taxing them at 100%. Or tax efficiency 23%. So that's what we're actually asking them, which is a pretty fair contribution for the people of our nation. We'll increase the education because this is critical part of state building that we want to be completing right here, and we'll also increase spending on our bureaucrats so they are more efficient in the end for our nation, and we'll bump up that military spending, and we will put a tariff. And now it seems like I might be probably under the UK sphere of influence, so I don't actually have control of my tariffs. God damn it, eh? All right, so we have that set up. Let's go ahead and get our national focus started. First recommendation will be to promote the clergyman. And the reason is simple. We're currently at 1.01% and 0.99%. So basically 1% of population is clergymen. If we look right here, we have 50% of population that's literate right now, and it's increasing daily by like 1% of 1%. So it's very slow increase over the time, but the more clergymen we have, the faster that will go. And we also have right here the research states that our clergymen are producing 1.51% research point, and the optimal is at 2%. So already getting that clergyman to 2% will be of great help to increase our research point abilities. And if we bump it up to an extra 2% to reach 4% of our population being clergymen, then we will get maximum amount of literacy rate change possible for a nation. And after 4%, any extra clergyman is just wasted money. So our objective with the national focus will be to get them to 4%, and then we'll move and deal with something else. All right, let's take a quick look at our current country political system. Our current people here are anti-war. They have a residency policy, they are moralist, they have interventionist, and they're protectionist. So it's not a bad setup. Usually I prefer state capitalism than interventionist, because state capitalism allows you to build factories, whereas interventionist does not allow you to build your own factory, only allow you to intervene in the economy, like opening and closing existing factories or subsidizing these factories, nothing more. So it could be a good decision to switch over to the Nationalist Party, which is reactionary, just for that state capitalist. So we will do that. That usually anger a bit the people. I didn't pay attention how much militancy I had before, so I guess it could be worse than that, right? And now we have different means here. So since we are secondary power inside a sphere of influence, we are allowed to leave the sphere of influence, and that will actually make us declare a war on the United Kingdom, and we will have to defend it. They'll have to invade us to claim us back into the sphere of influence. Which is not something we need to do, because if we reach great power position, which means being over the 8th country in the world, we will automatically gain independence with becoming great power. We can also seize the means of production, which is similar, but seize foreign factories that are built into your country. But again, if you become a great power, it's all yours for free, so you don't need to worry too much about that. And we have the military complex right here that changes. Believe that's right. Where is it? I don't even remember. I think it's in technology research here. Yeah, we're traditional academia. So if we activate that military industrial complex right here, it will grant us bonus right here. We will gain plus 50% Army Tech research rate and plus 10% industry research rate, and culture and Navy techs will have a malus to them. So that's something we can consider if later on we really need to catch up in military and industry techs. Now, first tech we want to give our attention to will be romanticism, because that will increase the prestige gain, and prestige is one of the metrics that's calculated to decide if you're a great power, a secondary power, a third power. The other metrics are your industrial capacity and your military score that we will take a look at further down the line. So prestige is very easy to fake if you go into aesthetic under culture research column. These will give you crazy amount of like if you get romanticism and then you discover romanticism, literature, art, and music, they'll give you 5 prestige point, which is half of what we already have, which means it will skyrocket you. And if you get further and further, impressionism is plus 15, expressionist is plus 20, and we get some plus 25, very, very strong prestige gain at the end when we're at mass culture and the avant-garde. But we'll get that romanticism going. All right, otherwise in our nation, we'll take a look at our current military stance. Let's build some army. We can build one extra unit. Let's actually look what we got some infantry right there. We got cuirassiers and dragoons. We got some more infantry and some more infantry. Let's move the dragoons with our main army, and let's build right here another cannon. All right, perfect. So that's good. Diplomacy screen. We don't really. Let's just take a look at our current standing. So here in the maps, we can go into relationship and click our nation, and now we can see anybody that screen has positive relationship with us. And now you cannot see, but right under my webcam, there's tooltip that show up, and this one shows we're at plus 125 with France and plus 125 with the United Kingdom. We're being very friendly with every nation, the hard I think. I don't see like anybody that hates us, but usually if you click France, then yeah, you'll see Russia doesn't like them and Russia doesn't like France, and these will be different every game, so you gotta be mindful of that every time you start. Just take a quick look, see what's the current situation, because if France and Russia don't like them at the start, then it's very likely that trend will continue on, and they will France maybe will ally with Austria and get involved some weird wars and everything. But that, you know, we will live with whatever consequence of what happens on the European continent. The only thing that's for sure guaranteed to happen is that Prussia will be able to take over the control of Northern Europe here and united under the North German Federation, and then move on to the German Empire and blah blah blah, and it will be like a super massive power in Europe. So that will be a thorn we'll have to deal with later. Maybe hopefully we can get on friendly term with Prussia. And now if you right click on a country from the world map, it will pop you up directly into diplomacy screen if you have version 3.04. Let's increase our relationship with Prussia. So every so often you can send diplomats to increase your relationship, and it will give you plus 15. And relationship is a spectrum of minus 200 to plus 200, so a total range of 400 points. And the higher it is, the more they will be loving you and trying to be supportive of you, and even maybe sometimes trying to get an alliance with you if you're a pretty strong nation too. So keeping a cordial, good relationship with your neighbors, especially when you know they'll become very powerful, is important. All right, and otherwise on the Navy side, I could build extra man of war, but they're crazy expensive, $2,000. I'm not gonna worry about that. So let's go into the production screen, and let's see what current factories we have running. So in Belgian Wallonie, we have a steel factory, an ammunition factory, and a small arm factory, which is a nice combination, because with the steel factory we give a bonus of small arms, so they will have a synergy because they share. In fact, this is crazy because small arm is double synergy here. If you look down in the tooltip, you got plus 25% from 15% from having a steel factory and 10% from an ammunition factory in Wallonie. So this can synergize very well and increase the potential output of your nation greatly. All right, and this is also a great bonus because if you look at steel factory, you get 12.5% bonus production for both having either iron or coal, and in the case of there, we have both of them. So very nice. And ammunition, we don't have sulfur, so we lose 50%, but You know, it's very nice setup, very nice installation in our country. I think we'll keep it that way. In Vladerlan, we got a fabric factory, which is just, you know, it's making some money. We got a canned food factory as well as a cement factory. So I think it's fine, right? We don't need to worry too much about that. Let's see if we can maybe build up new factories. I can only build a cement factory because everything else is way too expensive. One thing I could consider doing, it will be a artillery factory, because they get a bonus from the steel and from a explosive. Is that I think that's explosives, and I don't see where the explosive right here. And we can even build that, right? But that will allow us to have a very substantial financial way to gain money. Industrial way to gain money while playing if there's wars going on in the continent, because that's what we're targeting. All right, if we look at the project, we have one project in the pipelines from the capitalists, and it will be building a railroad in Vladren. We can help finance by clicking right here. We can either decide how much we want to put, so the maximum will be 1.2k to fully buy everything they need and just get that railroad started, or we can just hold down shift and click right here and max out everything that's in the project list, which is usually the best technique to do so because it stimulates the economy and stimulates capitalists. Right now we have 0 investors, so that means nobody took up the project yet, but there is definitely a project and now it's fully financed by the state. Usually building right in the production, you'll get either railroads or factories that are decided by capitalists. Factories, you might want to be careful before you full on finance them, because sometimes it's just stupid choice, right? Capitalists will be the kind to build the same factories over and over in every nation. Let's say they want to build I don't know, wineries everywhere, but you don't even have glass factories, so it's just, you just gotta be careful. The capitalists are not rich for their intelligence, right? And now I think we have a pretty good setup to just launch the game and start going. So let's speed up the game and start unveiling time. Let's take a look at the economy at the same time. We can maybe knock down the military spending a bit. We will definitely knock down the military spending for the stockpiles. So we lowered the budget for the militaries, but we also reduced the amount of stockpiles. So we'll lose some organization, but we don't need it as we're not actively fighting wars. The only thing you have to keep in mind is once you start reducing their organization, so you see here the green bar went with some red here, they're like at 25% organization right now. So that means they're only 25% as efficient as they can be, but if you boot it up back to 100%, it'll take you maybe a month or two to get back to full strength. So you gotta be very careful what operation try to put on the table right there. Alright, so time's flowing. We're making some fine money. Let's take a look at the production. Seems like we're producing. So wool does exist. I wasn't sure. I didn't remember wool. It's just, I guess, one of these resources that's so easy to forget about. We got very nice fabric production. A lot from the artisans. How much of the world? We're producing 2.5% of the world fabric. Well, that's very good. And we're actually producing sulfur too. Wow, we have such a good and varied economy in such small space. Yeah, in Brussels we have sulfur. We got iron and coal everywhere else. That's Wallonie, and that's okay. That's an interesting setup. We have very nice resource layout. All right, so we are at war now. All right, let's take a moment here to get into our budget, boost up spending for military. We'll cut some of the education budget and everything because well, we're under war. All right, so we have been declared on by the Netherlands, so they have the Dutch, how's it called? Dutch restoration of order to Belgian provinces. So we have Russia, Netherlands, and Luxembourg engaging into a war against us, and United Kingdom that's also defending us. So that will be interesting. Usually when you have big powers like the Russian Empire or the British, the war becomes more about them than about the initial fighting, but we're still a critical part of the war effort, right? You know the meme with the little kids that saying, I did my part. Well, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do our part too, man. All right, so now we have booted back the budget to the maximum here. We have slowed down time because if you go at speed 5, this is just crazy how fast they go. First step of action will be to retreat troops. Now I see the British are actually attacking right here. I will not send my fleet out because I only have Clipper transport, which is not something valid to fight with. So I'll leave that fight up to the British. And I think, can I see? All right. The Dutch don't have a very nice navy to be fighting with. The Brits brought in 25 heavy ships and 2 light ships against 1 heavy and 1 light and 1 transport of the Dutch. So the Dutch are gonna get cream in this battle, but they are making big move on land at the same time. Now what I can notice is their organization is quite low, so they might be making a fatal mistake here. I did retreat my armies a bit. Nothing stops them from chasing me down except the fact that being in a defensive position while fighting in Vic2 is way superior to being in the offensive position. So we will just let time go and see what happens. Alright, so they decide to go and start the occupation of Antwerp. And I guess these 6 units will be occupying Esselt. So again, just shift my troops around. Not necessarily start a war, but not start a war, but start a battle, but at least have them in a better position. The Brits seems to be dealing very well with the Netherlands fleet. And they destroyed 1. I don't really pay attention how they do all of the fighting. I find that's... like, I appreciate the way the sea fighting happens in Victoria 2, but I never really paid attention on how it actually go down. Because you can see different ships on the right are fighting ships on the gauche, on the left, but the same ship is represented there. Okay, so that's nice. So that ship has been sunk. This ship is retreating from all of these that are engaging it, and this one is fighting all of these other ships that are fighting him. But there's just no way they can stand it. They will be wiped off in a mere second here. That's it. The fleet's gone, baby. No more Dutch fleet. Alright, right here we have a pretty much main contingent of an army led by Leopold I. Oh my god, he has plus 50% morale. That will be crazy good buff. The Dutch are moving in more troops on the border. Oh, way more troops. And they're going down to Spa. Oh, the Brits are moving in 28,000 troops too. So we're gonna have some nice land action in a moment. I think I'll use that Leopold 1st Première Infanterie to attack this 6,000 stack right here. Now you're gonna be careful because yes, the AI has 30,000 troops, so if we move all of our troops, we'll be able to defeat the Dutch. But the AI doesn't think like us. They'd rather siege down a useless province than help us fighting a possibly winning war. Not war, but battle. Alright, so our first engagement is going on here. We got Leopold I with 8,337 cavalry, 9,000 infantry, and 6,000 cannon fighting Karel Bernard von Sasken-Weimar, who has only 5,000 infantry. So we'll see. We have a very, very fat stack bonus on moral. Now you can see the AI is moving that army toward Hasselt on the 19th. I'll get there on the 20th. And yeah, okay. I need to be moving my troops right. Right now we are fighting a battle against 4,000 troops led by Karel Bernard. And there's that fat army of David Chastain that's moving in to fight us. Now my ideal strategy here will be to wipe out that 4,000 unit, get all my troops there as fast as possible so we fight a defensive battle against the Netherlands. What I'm most afraid of is they have time to get there before I wipe the army, and now I'll be fighting an offensive battle against a very large army, which is not a good thing in Victoria 2. You really want to take very light battles on the offensive, and the big battles you want to be defending. So let's slow down a bit time. No, let's go to speed 2. Hope we can do it. We have one more day. No, we didn't do it. Right now we need to be thinking in a very tactful manner on how we will be dealing with our retreat, because well, David Chess is not a general. He is a very strong leader. He has +3 on his dice roll. They have way more infantry, but they do not have cannons, so they have a slight disadvantage. Meanwhile, Leopold has very strong moral bonus, but I don't think that will be sufficient. I will try to disengage, I guess. If I look back at the battle, when can I disengage? There are 4 more days until voluntary retreat. And how long does it take you? It takes you 4 more days, right? I guess we'll go ahead and comment fully. We can also mobilize our army right here. If you go into the military screen, we can hit mobilize. So that will transfer all my non-combatant free farmers, craftsmen, and laborer into basic infantry that we can basically use as cannon fodder. And okay, let's see. That will be a very stressful moment. Oh, I think they're getting reinforcement too. Okay, we're now very balanced. You see the British? I got that British. Why don't they come and help me out here in Hasselt? No, they'd rather siege on Antwerp. But there's a possibly winning battle right next to them. This is why I hate the AI in this game. Alright, so we had all our troops in time. Seems like our massive... Why do we have crossing penalty now? That I'm not sure to get why. But we now have a crossing penalty, but our moral bonus seems to be doing everything right for us. Our troop variety might be also very helpful. We have slightly more cavalry. We have more infantry now at 6,000 cannons still. So we have very, very solid firepower. They had a very poor dice roll. We're getting 7, they're getting 0s. Let's see the next dice roll. Oh yeah, they're getting horrifying dice roll. What's going on, man? We got our first troop here that are laborers in Brussels. So let's move them into the combat so they get to see some action, them young boys, them young lads. All right, we won that battle. All right, so that was a very good battle to win, because now we've made a decisive dent into the resolve of the Dutch. Now we gotta wait 1 day for army to disengage the battle. We got 38,000. Let's split them up. So what I did, I grouped up everybody. I split them up into 2 different factions. I'll use one of the armies to go down in Nam, and the other division I will assign Lambernipis and go back to Brussels just to start, you know, cleaning up on the west, the Bruges and Middelburg, and I will use my other troop to clean down the south and maybe siege down Luxembourg. Now our troops are moving back in position, and oh, I think they're doing crucial mistake here. They're going to Ansel. Oh, that is absolutely not a good move. So basically the AI can cancel any move. So if I decide to move my armies back at this point, they will just cancel their move and stay put where they are. But there's a little glitchy thing that we can do, and I'll show you. So they will get in position on the 9th. So if we wait on the 8th of August, and now we take our armies and move them to engage, now the AI cannot cancel. But not only can they not cancel, but they still can cancel the 3rd division. That's only like 1,600 soldiers. So it's possible that they save a little bit of their armies, but the main force, I think, will be crushed in this battle, because they have almost no organization on that road. I don't know. I think it's a total blunder that they did to bring back the army here. They should have regrouped to Amsterdam and reinforced their troop and wait for some restoral of their missing organization. But now, no, it will be a total massacre. They still have a very good leader though, so gotta grant them that. They still have a dig in. Well, we have the crossing Malus, and we gotta dig in Malus. I don't know how they did that. They just get there, but you know. But I think it will be over for these little lads here. Party's done. And now we have an event called an Age of Liberalism, which will be creating some liberal agitation throughout our nation. So will we wipe them out? Let's take a quick look at the status of the war. Can I add war goals? Let me I don't think I can add a war goal, right? Add a war goal. The war is not going well enough. I think it's going pretty well. It's going 10% in our favor. But it might actually be the British that are doing all of these points, so that will explain why we cannot make demands. It's not because of us that we're winning. That's basically what they're trying to say. Alright, these 13,000 will go back in Bruxelles. This 16,000 will go down Liège, and then go right here, clean up the little troops we have. Some resistance here, 6,000 soldiers. Yeah, let's wait next month. So every single month there's a tick of reinforcement, so more like they'll go back all the way up to 3,000. And let's see, we have +1 attack. Very good generals that we have. I think that +1 attack, +8% morale, +7% organization is good, even though we lose some of the speed. I think he's a good compromise. Now let's group up these 2 leaders. Now the Brits are cleaning up the place for us, it seems. And that'll be an assault the 3rd, so let's wait on the 2nd. And now move our main force to engage that main force. Oh, looks like the Brits will just wipe them out while we're on our way there. All right, let's go and invade Middleburg to take back the control of that occupation really. And seems like we'll be wiping out the Dutch right here in Spa. Alright, so we joined the British army here. It's still our leader is the strongest one, so that's why he's leading the battle. So, but we actually have Brits unit. You can see the yellow one are Belgians. Right? Yeah, we have all Belgians in the Battle of Spa, but right here we got some British unit that joined in and are fighting side to side with us. A good amount, it seems, also, so that's beneficial. Alright, we won the Battle of Spa. Let's clamp down. Let's wait one more day. Let's clamp down on Luxembourg and go and take over their capital. I'm a bit worried, I gotta admit, about Russia, you know. Do they have any... I don't remember how to confirm in this game. I don't think Prussia's letting them pass through though, so we might be good. I don't think they can pull a naval transport of their troops from Russia to the Netherlands. I very doubt that they can do that. It seems like our country might be safe for the time being, which is good. Good. Alright, so we just wiped off the Luxembourgian armies, and now we will take the moment to occupy the land. We're gonna fight another great glorious battle against these 11,000 Dutch soldiers left, trying to take back a little piece of land and hopefully wipe them off. Well, might not be such a winning move for me, I guess. Uh-oh. Yeah, I see it now, huh? They come out of nowhere, these goddamn Russians. Why don't you come help me, stupid Brits? Yeah, I think I'm in deep trouble now, huh? Okay, I won that battle. I'll move you back to Brussels. You'll move to Tournai. So we have 29,000 Russians in Spa. I guess we'll avoid Spa for the moment, huh? Won't be. Alright. So I got my troops on the back line. I'll wait a couple months for them to regain some organization and some troops. Also, if you look at your troops right here, you got some details about the population, because in this game, the troops are tied up directly with the population you have. So right here, this dragon unit, there are soldiers from Brussels. This pup has 2,320 people and can support one brigade. It currently has 2 brigades, so the reinforcement will be cut off to 50%. And what happened is, during a battle, if you lose like 1,000 pop, you lose an actual 1,000 pop. So that's why we probably had over 6,000 prior to the battles, but we lost a lot of people during these terrifying battles that we had with the Dutch. And now we only have 2,000 people left to support 6,000 men's brigade. Now the game doesn't, you know, block you off saying no, you cannot. More population doesn't exist. They allow you to go back to 3,000 and full pops. It's like fill-in replacement, but you know, you will eventually lose everything. And for example, this one here, we have that cuirassier unit. They're soldiers from Assault. The pop has 423 people in it and can support 0 brigade. It currently has 1. And the population is now too small to reinforce, so we will be stuck at 1,600 people. We cannot gain more. It's impossible. Now we can see down here we have the 3 infantries that are made of laborers. So mobilized units are just slower to gain back reinforcement. So this is a pretty precarious army that I have here in Brussels, because a lot of the permanent units don't have the population. It seems like we went through a very, very severe war right here. Even this, man, it will be a tough position to recover from. All right, let's take a look at the current diplomacy. They're not minus 16% from the battle and from the occupation. They have some blockades. Where are they blockading? Okay, the Brits are actually blockading the Russians, so that might really put a dent in their economy. Now, blockading doesn't like affect international trade like it would in Hearts of Iron 4. That would have been a lovely feature to cut off, you know, a real blockade that cut off importation of goods and you can't starve off an empire. But in Victoria 2 it doesn't work out that way. Now, I don't remember exactly like what happened where you're blockaded, but it's not good. And the Brits, what they're doing is giving them a good amount of blockade. The blockade is 2.6 war score, just coming from blocking some of Russia. Well, I guess Russian, they have 3 ships here, so they get a little bit of blockading points also. But I think they will be wiped out by the British in not too long, because if that's their entire fleet, yeah, it's not that good, eh? Alright, so we have the Russian 32,000 soldiers of Russia attacking Luxembourg. So that will be one battle, eh? And they have no commander. Yeah, I don't think we even have time to get there. They're just gonna get crushed. And they truly are just getting obliterated. And when you don't have a leader, you see you get -2 point whether you attack or defend. So this is like a critical weakness for that army. All right, we don't want bureaus in the country because it affects production until the end of times, so it's not a very, very good move. Are the Brits gonna run away? No, just gonna get wiped out, eh? Alright, gonna use my little army here to clear off that invading army. After that, I can put myself in good position here. I don't think they have access to France, and I don't think France will give them access, right? What's your relationship with Russia? Yeah, I don't think that will happen. So if we kick them out like that and put our 2 armies in Liège and Namur, then next turn when they try to move their army, they could be attacking us and we'll be in a defensive position, which will be mucho excelente for defense, a last stand. But I don't know if that will happen, right? Maybe they'll just move up north and try to go and take against the British. The important is that we're trying to defend our land mostly, I think. Oh no, there's even more Russians coming in. And they're actually going full on head-on combat. Should I move my troops? Now that's my question, eh? But I think I'll get them moving, just in case. Just in case. I think I might have a good enough chance to win without it, but, you know, with 50,000 soldiers, it's almost a guaranteed win now. Unless they move in their main forces and they're just stronger than me, but it doesn't look like that will happen. Alright, so we won the Battle of Liège. Let's move our 30,000 troop to Brussels. I just cannot take head-on. When are you getting there? On the 29th? Alright, you're getting there on the 31st and I get there. Ooh. I don't know if I'll get there first, and I think we're starting to get some yeah, we're starting to get some supply problems. Let's cut off fully the spending on everything except our army. Alright, now I'm just trying to manage my troops around to oh, I think he's commenting now. Alright, he's choking away. Yeah, I gotta keep them dancing like that, huh? Yeah, it's not a very good position, and they're moving in more troops. Alright. What are you doing, Brits? Are you winning the war? Okay, they added acquire Russian Alaska. So that's their current demand to end the war. That's coming from the British. So the British will want to gain all of that, which would be a very, very good move for them. Yeah, that's all Alaska. Which would be exceptionally good. I don't know if they have any armies down here. Doesn't look like so. They do have an army here, but they don't appear to be moving. Right, they just appear to be freezing their balls off in Fort Albany. Yeah, let's get back to what matters the most, Belgium. Okay, we got some more Brits coming in. Gonna just juggle my troops around to keep them split, but keep them well balanced and defended. Where are you going? Where are you going, Brits? Alright. So he's just gonna... Can you just not do that, please, Brits? Or are you just sending a few thousand men to die? Alright. I can move right here and get in a big fight. Right? When will I get there? On the 23rd? I'll get there on the 24th. So get a big fight against these 13,000 Russian soldiers. Hopefully wipe them out. But we'll take whatever comes. Yeah, I don't think they stand much odds. They're just being obliterated. The Brits are not in a good position, and they're not doing the right things. Right? They're trying to occupy back some of the land that was taken from us, but that's just not the winning move to do here. They should definitely have joined their forces in Luxembourg to try and help them. But they didn't. They're losing us a war now. Well, maybe not that much, but you get drift. Alright, and we are obliterating Fyodor Vrodsky. It's gonna be gone. And we won the battle. Our economy is still in shambles. Canned food is way too expensive, huh? I think it's the only thing we don't have money for, though. All right. Having a lot of occupation is bad because we lose access to resources that are occupied by the enemy. I don't know if we'll have time to get there. Seems like the Brits are very, very bad position to be fighting. They have no leaders. Don't you freaking retreat. Good. Alright, so we moved in enough troops. Now That could be changing something, since we're now leading the army. I think it will be fine. Seem to be gaining. Yeah, we're definitely being gaining, and it's only because we have way more soldiers. And we have cannons. I think it's the only reason we're winning here. So we should be good to go on that battle with the Russians there. And maybe even wipe out their army. And if we do so, then yeah. The Dutch will pretty much be done. Minus 19, we will soon take their capital. And once that's done, it's GG for the boys. We got some attrition here because of our supply limit being atrocious. All right. And you see we got in Liège in time, so now the retreating army is attacking us, which is not good for Ivan. Ivan, you're gonna lose that battle and you're gonna die, man. And they did. How many? I think I killed every single one of them. That's just brutal, right? Alright, let's take a look. What is current war exhaustion? 18%. What is ours? 10%. Alright. So we have a good exhaustion from that war, which is normal. We took a lot of casualties. We were halfway occupied. It's not easy, right? Leading wars back in the 19th century, so we'll take what passes. I'll move that troop back to Brussels. The Brits are gonna take over Luxembourg and occupy. I'll let them do. Anyway, the only objective that can be enforced is from the war leaders, and usually they do anything to favor themselves. Now that's very good. And I'll let the Brits take back Spa, take Luxembourg, take the capitals, and we'll just chill around with the army. Oh no, there's another massive Russian army on the way. Of course. Wait, did they... What happened? Why did they... I'm not sure what happened. They just didn't engage. They got there and kept moving. So, okay. Alright, so we gained most of our land back. We'll just let time flow. Once they take Amsterdam... Okay, so the war is over now. I don't know how it finished. How did it finish? Acquire Russian Alaska. Alright, so that's what happened. So that's how that war finished, right? Good thing the Brits were there. They were able to protect me from the Russian. And as I said earlier, when there's major powers involved in a war, then no matter what the war is about, it's not what's on the negotiating table at the end. It's whatever their interest is. Alright, so first thing will be to demobilize the army. We'll put down the army. We'll keep our current forces. Even though they have some red brigades, we just let population grow back passively. Deal around with the supply. Put back some money in the education. Put back some money in military spending, so, you know, we get some soldiers interested in becoming soldiers. Yeah, this one suffered very bad. 185 people left in that brigade. Let's see, the select all, select only soldiers. 181. Wow. Right. Oh, we gained some prestige from some story about a lion. Let's see, what is our role position right now? We're 9th. And we're closing on to Spain, who are 8th power. And you see these 8 powers, they're the great powers. So once we shift Spain in places by exceeding the score they have, then we can start talking big boys business. How's the production going? We got some project to finance. We got some railroads ready to go, ready to rail and road and whatever. Can push people be more liberal for a small hit, but at least we don't have a liberal agitation until the end of the game. Romanticism will be completed shortly. That is a great tech to finish. I think we'll go down the commerce path. Now there's no ideal solution. Oh wait, realism is, yeah, there's an ideal solution. Realism is very good. It gives you like 3 techs that can give you plus 10 prestige, which is just very good. All right, so we're making a little bit of money. Let's repay some loans. We paid back everything. Money stacking, realism researching, population growing, trading flowing, production producing, military chilling around, and diplomacy at peace. Finally, romanticism art plus 1.6% shared. And romanticism literature at the same time. Now you could have seen, man, that was a little bit weird if you had swift eyes to see what was going on. I don't want an alliance from Anhalt. That's like one of those micronations that will just one morning disappear. But if we go back into technology and romanticism, so we have romantic literature that's giving us 1.6 prestige. And we have romanticism art that gives us 1.2 prestige, and we can get music that's giving us 5 points. And what happened is whenever a country research that tech first, they get 5 prestige, and when another country research it, they get 2.5, and when a third country gets it, they get 1.6, and so on and so on. It keeps getting smaller the more people learn and discover that technology. So it is very ephemeral buff on your prestige when you go down that path. But if you're the first, an impressionist, it's possible it takes a while before other people catch you up. So can give you a very, very nice head start when you're trying to climb up the great power boards. All right, if we compare to Spain, which is our primary rival, because they're just one position over us and they're a great power, we have pretty much the same prestige. They have no industry at all, but they got a better military. Our military is a bit lacking, bit behind, bit on the weak side. Well, we're making our people becoming a bit liberal. It scares me. Starting to scare me. Select all. I guess not so bad, but it's a dangerous game, liberalism in Victoria too. I can tell you that for sure. Alright, we just set time flow. Let the troops chill. You see, this war has been terrible, man. We have 14 brigades, which is what we started the game with. But we can only support 5. So we have a lot of units that will not get reinforcement until their pop goes back up thousands. This is one of the main problems we're playing Victoria 2, is just managing that active soldier population to, you know, be sure you have enough soldiers to fight your war, because if you get a whole generation of young men wiped out of the face of the earth by a cannon, well, you don't have that young generation anymore fighting your war later on. I don't want liberal agitator. Okay, maybe it's not that bad, but I mean, liberal agitation is just painful in this game. Alright, let's go speed 5. Ooh, we get some rebel faction forming. We got some Jacobin rebels showing up. We got 3,000 people in our nation that are Jacobins, but they cannot form any brigade. They could only go up to 2, so not too scary yet. Our army slowly going back up. Can I get like maximum of 6 divisions? The classic rediscovered. 5% liberal for all rich strats. Yeah, I don't want. I don't like liberal agitator because you get a lot, and all pups in Ireland become 30% more liberal. So we gotta be a very, very liberal country shortly if we keep getting. Right here we can enact political reform because of different setting. Yeah, right here it says if we have liberal and we have high militancy, then they will support social reforms. Conservative don't want reforms unless they have very high militancy. Well, they're starting to get higher and higher, so they would be backing political reforms now. But the conservative will never back social reforms. And liberals, they will back social reform if militancy is high enough. So we will wait it out and chill a bit and see what happens with that. Oh, so France has removed us from the sphere of influence of the United Kingdom, which puts us in a weak spot right now. But maybe we can... No, we cannot form an alliance with France. Can I form one with... I can form one with Great Britain. I will definitely do that because once I get great power, I will not be sphered by anybody. So that will be a potential danger for our nation. And as you can see, we are... Oh, we're back to night now. But as soon as you're 8, you do not become a great power. You still need to chill out for a full year, so the previous 8th position falls off and become the 9th, and no longer a great power. Let's go to basic school system. Very good techs. School system and healthcare and Victoria 2 are magical techs. They're free and they give substantial increase in what you need. Alright, so I'm getting some liberal agitators again. Oof, I got very, very high militancy now. That's getting a bit scary now. Because the maximum is 10, but once you get there... I don't know why are people so pissed? What did I do bad? We're starting to get a lot of probable rebels in our nation. Right, we got Flemish rebels. They could get up to 138 brigades, but right now they only have 9 ready to join. But yeah, it's big dangers. Yeah, we'll keep a close grip on our army for now. Because if they get 300 rebels, I'm just shutting down the game. I'm telling you, good luck playing that piece of shit game. Alright, we're almost finished with realism now. Still 9th in the world though. Alright, we can go with acceptable school system, which is not something that lowers, well, it went down 2 points on militancy, but it's not like something people will consider to be of great help. But as I mentioned, these bottom left reforms are very good. Let's go toward protectionism. Just to get some militancy up. Alright, so in philosophy 3 during your tech research, idealism, empiricism, analytic philosophy, all of that are great because they give you additional research point. So as soon as you reach 1840, you can start researching idealism, and that should be your priority at that point. It's the only good way to play a game. No, but honestly, it would change you from being like 13 points to, I don't know how much, maybe 20 points, let's say, because it's not exactly plus 100%, but just increasing your research point gives you a snowball effect. Alright, so at Liège we could get an iron. Okay, I can get mining efficiency boost. Let's go and get an event. Flashpoint. I don't think you have any flashpoint. I prefer state capitalism. State capitalism is simply the best because liberals in my country are laissez-faire-ist, which means they do not want to manage the economy, which means it's gonna end up in bankruptcy for everybody. That's just how it is, huh? Alright, let's get a good school system in Belgium. And it is the end of the revolution, so all pop percentage of people that support liberal will lose 4% militancy, and we get 17 prestige. So we shot up a lot, and we have a conservative and reactionary coalition that forms up and takes the government as a conservative. Alright, I mean 40 something percent of the population support them, so I guess that's a fair representation. It's a fair coalition at least. Still researching realism. Let's build up everything here. You see here the AI wants to build furniture factory in Vlaardingen, which is probably not the best choice, but it still is something. And right here you can hold down shift and I don't know why it's not working. Shift yeah. Okay, it's just alright. It's just those near the employee limit, so we'll let it go like that. Our clergyman still going up 2.37%. Good. Let's kick up spending here. We got realist music, some nice prestige boost. We're now 7th in the world. We will soon be a great power. We're at 104 points, so we really shot past the Ottoman in Spain. So that will be beneficial for us. And now, anytime within 365 days following you ascension over the 8th place, you're gonna be fine. Alright, so we got Romantic music. This one is not so good anymore because it only gives you 1 prestige point, which is minimum for that deck. But it started off as +5, so it was worthwhile in the past, but right now it's not. political reforms are just not good. I don't recommend taking them. You better leave the pressure cooker on and let people... Wait, okay. France declared war on Tunis. I was like, wait, what? But yeah, you better leave the pressure on and let people get angry that you're not doing any political reform, so you're now become allowed to do social reform to repair the harm you've caused. Even though just... Oh, and finally, we are entering the world stage as a great power. This is beautiful. Alright, let's take a look at the window right here. We're 7th position at 107 score. Austria is right over us at 126. But we truly are the weakling when it comes to military, huh? Yeah. If you look at everybody else, they have very strong military. Meanwhile, we only have substantial prestige. But we do have more industrialization than Austria and Russia and Spain. And as much as France and the USA. So we can kind of keep up with that production. We just don't really have the population to be aiming for a very long-term strategy with that. Alright, so we will expand some factories. Idealism has been researched. Positivism could be nice too. Let's go get that. Let's see if we have any project on the back burner. And they're trying to build a railroad. Trying to build another one. They're very motivated to build railroads, huh? I think I'm gonna get railroads in every single province. Yep. They're building it everywhere. So Luxembourg is in France's sphere. Netherlands is in nobody's sphere. But I cannot really influence them. Now when you get a great power, you have sphere of influence that come into play. So if we look at France, they got a few countries right here. The Papal State, they're in their sphere. Luxembourg is in their sphere. Sardinia-Piedmont is in their sphere. So these are important because if we look at Prussia right here, right, they have pretty much everything they need in their sphere to be forming, except that. I think that's the only thing they need, that little Bavarian land. That will allow them to form North Germany. And then if they take all of that in the south, then they will be able to form South Germany. And Austria can also form South Germany, which they seem to be in lining with. Truly, they only have a small war to wage to exchange both territories and they'd be fine mutually. But, you know, that's not gonna happen. Russian Empire doesn't seem to have much interest in building a sphere of influence. They just don't care. They're not talking to anybody. Lots of country not in spheres. That is surprising. Usually AI love to sphere small inconsequential nations, like anything in South America, Mid America, and Mexico. Now I'm just trying to think what would be my ideal move here as a brand new world power. I think Sweden could be a potential target for or influence. And they're 14th position in the world, so they're not like on the margin of becoming a great power. All right. And we can increase our opinion of Sweden toward us, and we now became cordial. You can see there's different type of opinion, like Russia's friendly with them, we're cordial, the UK's cordial. So once you get to friendly, once you get 100 points after, you can add them to your sphere, but it's not really important unless you're playing really in Germany or another cultural union that's formable. Otherwise, if you're just starting playing the game, you should not even worry about what I'm doing now. I should just try to keep your country running and stable, not getting a revolution every other week. All right, very, very nice. Get brand new tech finish. We can increase our opinion with Sweden. Let's do that. Let's try to get them in our sphere if Russia doesn't kick us out. Functionalism. Increase education efficiency and colonial migration. Not something. Well, education is very good, but the rest, so man. We could go down the naval doctrine branch. That will allow us to increase the naval base, which are very important because the naval base gives you colonial power. Right now we have 130 points. We get points both from naval bases and from ships. So if we decide to go and build new ships, man of war would give me don't remember exactly how much, but not that much points. You can actually build 3 man of war, so why not just do that? We have the money, we have the means to do it. We're gonna show off our big ships. Right, realist art plus 3.3 prestige, very nice. Our population are growing back. We got some soldiers that are potential dissidents. Right there, they're Walloon nationalists. They have very high militancy. But they're fading out because we're having a very, very sweet and nice country for everybody to live in. All right. Okay, we get some factories being completed here. We can also do some foreign investment when you're a great power. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go into Europe, get Sweden. Sweden, I think they're closed off, huh? Either that or they become great powers. No, they're secondary power. They have conservatives with which one is it? Protectionist trade policy that does allow us to invest? It could be. Yeah, they don't have a lot of foreign investments, so we cannot do that. We cannot play that game with Sweden. Maybe another nation will be able, but Sweden, nope. Oh, Denmark is in big war, I think, with well, just Holstein. But Holstein is feared by Prussia, so I don't know how Denmark's gonna deal with that. I don't think it's a good idea for them to try to deal with that. Okay, we can finally increase opinion. We can add to sphere. Perfect. Sweden has been added to our sphere. They're now part of sphere. And yeah, spheres are kind of complex, but getting more country into your sphere is just magical bonus, right? That's the objectives you should be aiming. And otherwise, I think it's a pretty good demonstration of the potential of Victoria 2, what you can do at the start, where you can add, what kind of little menu and sub menu you can look at. We had a very quick initial early war against Netherlands that we could have lost because of the incredible amount of Russian troops that were moving through Prussia. I'm starting to feel like there was some sort of conspiration behind that from Prussia to just let the Russians walk right into my nation. But with the help of the British, we were able to defeat them, and that's all that mattered. And now we have become a great power with prestige hacking technologies, and we have put Sweden under our sphere of influence. I think that will be good enough for a little video. Thank you for watching, and if you have any question about the game, feel free to let me know. I'll take a look and see what else I can answer. So thank you, and make sure to drop a like and subscribe for more. See you next time.